Hey guys, it's Temi Ajiboye here on another episode. This episode will be available on this channel and also on my Spotify. So there's a link in my Spotify in the description and a couple of other links that I'll be talking about in this video. Okay, this video is essentially an answer to a couple of questions that a lot of people have been talking to me about, especially beginners. And they want me to recommend a pathway, a guide to learn Flutter in 2022. And it's not only about learning Flutter. They want to learn Flutter in a way that when they are done learning, they want to be able to have enough things to showcase recruiters that they know what they are talking about. So it's not about just learning how to code in Flutter. It's also about having a lot of things to showcase to potential recruiters what you have, what you know. And one of the ways is to showcasing projects that you have done that showcase your knowledge, that shows your knowledge, that shows what you're capable of. So if I was an hiring manager, I'm going to look at your portfolio and see the sort of apps that you have done. And also, when you build stuff, you gain experience. So let's say you want to be a Flutter developer in 2024. What is a roadmap for you? So in this video or podcast, I'm going to attempt to show you what's possible, what roadmap you can follow. What are the things to learn that will show you that you know what you're talking about. So, for example, in the beginning, people want to jump straight into Flutter development. And I tell people, you need to learn the programming language that powers Flutter itself, which is some people might have jumped into Flutter development and without learning that and picked it up. But in my experience, a lot of people struggle with basic concepts in Flutter just because they have skipped the crucial part of learning the language that powers Flutter. So, which is why I created a course called Flutter Essentials, which basically will take you from novice to proficient developer, right? Excuse me. And then it has a lot of topics that you'll be introduced to, from variables to operators to collections to XM programming. It's really developer friendly and it will take you from being a developer to proficient developer in Dart programming. So once you master this, the next thing is to go into Flutter development. So, which is the essence of my next course coming? And the course is a 10 project course where I will start from simple courses, simple apps, and develop till we get to the 10th app. And you will see that it's easy from simple apps to more complex app. Till you grab all the concepts in Flutter that you need to succeed, even when you get a job. So let me run you through what the roadmap looks like. For example, when you jump into Flutter, you want to get introduced to Flutter. So if you go to flutter.dev, you will see documentation on how you can install Flutter, how you can set up your environment. And they have really nice code labs on the Flutter website and their docs. So that's a good place to start. But in this case of the course, we start with a simple counter app. Every programming language that wants to showcase stuff start with a counter app. And it's a great way to showcase what it is about. And you can see we start with counter app and we install Flutter. We start building out the UI. Then I explain. Then you start working into basic widget that comes with Flutter. From text to elevated buttons to center and layout widget, how to use column row to lay out your UI. And we go into managing local states. So you have stateful widgets, what are state classes and stuff like that. And another important part of learning is how to do debugging and testing. which a lot of people don't pay attention to. Most people just focus on how the UI is going to look beautiful. So, but to be a well-rounded Flutter developer, these are some of the things you need to know. You need to know debugging, you need to do testing. So I introduce you to the debugging tools we have in Flutter, widget inspector, and then we introduce you to unit testing, where you write some unit tests. And in fact, you could write some widget tests. And you see the second app is we go to basic forms, login forms, how to handle forms in Flutter, because most apps now has some sort of forms inside of them. And in there, we see how to do navigation, how to go from one page to another, one page to another. And you see, we can style forms as well. We'll talk about theming the app. You can theme your form as well. And the next app is a to-do list. This is where we test your knowledge. We introduce you to working with lists. In fact, most apps that you'll be working on, some sort of lists. So it's important that you to-do list, which it looks popular, but it introduces you to the concept of mutating lists, manipulating lists, and collections. You probably will see that a bit in the Data Essentials course, where I talk about collections in dots. But here, we are building a full app that uses that. And see, you get introduced to CRUD operators. And from there, we talk about storage. How do you store data locally on your device? We use this SQLite package. We talk about that. And then we go more advanced in state management. We could use state management solutions like Provider or Riverport, or you can use out-of-the-box state management solution like Value Notifier or your Value Listenable Builder. And from there, we go into our fourth app, which is Weather app. Here, it is just to introduce you to how you work with APIs. So building apps, you're going to be working with a lot of APIs from the backend. And this is a good app to showcase that. And there we talk about asynchronous programming, which you must have been introduced to in our DAT course. Cool. You see why you need the DAT course? Cool. And then we will implement some search functionality, how to undo error from your API request and stuff. And the next app is a recipe book. Basically, we get introduced to data models, and then we go more deeper into managing states. And basically, now we are getting to the part where we are building really complex apps that showcases what you have been learning in the previous apps. Now, these are good apps for your portfolio. Next, we go to chat, and there we will get introduced to Firebase. How do you integrate with Firebase? Firebase authentication, how to save data to Firestore, stuff like that. Authentication, for example, how do you implement user sign-in and login? How do you allow a user to sign up and they sign in and unauthorized users don't have access to your app? And we go a bit into UI design, that you design a chat interface, and then some bit advanced feature, push notifications, for example. How do you do push notifications with Firebase and stuff like that? And we go more advanced, we go fitness tracker. How do you use device sensors in the app? This is where we talk about it. We build stuff that does that. And then you go more on data visualization, where we introduce you to packages like FL Charts, where you can show some visualization on the UI. And then more UI design and user interaction, how to provide feedback based on user activities and progress and stuff like that. Now we go more 8-app movie database. So we bring all the things you've learned previously, bring it into here. For example, you're going to be fetching from the API. You're going to be passing JSON responses. Then you'll be working with lists to show a grid of movies. You'll be working with search and filtering. When someone searches, it needs to filter the lists. You see, you're working with collections here. In fact, we'll be working with pagination, how to fetch more data as the user scroll, infinite loading and stuff like that. Then we'll learn more state management. And then the ninth app is an e-commerce app. Cool. We talk about working with lists as well, the product details. You implement a cart functionality. You implement checkout process. Like say you integrate with Stripe, or we could use a dummy checkout provider. And here we're going to implement user authentication, login registration, user sessions, authentication, and stuff like that. And you see, it's getting more and more advanced, right? And the last app is a social media feed. We'll be building a social media feed, and we'll be creating a feed. We build layouts using list view. We're going to create postcards, avatar, post content and stuff. Then user interactions, likes, comments, post management, stuff like that. And you see, infinite scrolling, because we have done it before, it makes sense to put it here to test your knowledge again. You're going to handling data states, user profile, settings and preferences, stuff like that. We'll bring all the knowledge that we've learned and bring it right here. So this is the course that I'm working on. And I don't know when it's going to be out yet, but because as you see it, it looks like a lot of stuff. But you could take this list and learn on your own. By the time you are done, at least I think you should have about 8 apps to showcase to someone that you Flutter, right? You might not put this login form because they're simple stuff and the counter app. But from the to-do list down to the last one, 8 apps that you could put on the Play Store or on the App Store, or you can put it on your GitHub to showcase to your recruiter. This is incredible stuff that you do. I believe to finish up these things would take you about 6 to 8 months because they are a lot. But I believe if you follow this kind of roadmap, you'll be well grounded in Flutter development. And even after you get a job, you'll not be afraid of working because most of the things you are going to be doing in your job has been done here, right? So thank you for listening to this. And hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. If you like this video or podcast, leave your comments and let me hear what you think. Bye. See you in the next one.